Welcome back to Spelling and Word Study. My name is Mrs. Rhoades and I'm here to get you started on Unit 21, the ITY, itty ending. Please take a second to gather your materials. You will need your green book open to page 131. You will also need some colorful pens, markers, or crayons. Remember, whatever I mark on my board, you should be marking on your page. Please save room for a key as well. You'll notice that I've already gone ahead and broken our words into syllables. I've used those pink vertical lines to break our syllables apart. I've also added a purple check mark to each word. That signifies the stressed syllable, the part of the word that we say a little bit louder and stronger than the rest. That is often the easiest part of the word to spell because it follows the rules. Our unstressed syllables tend to have a lot of schwa sounds and letters that don't necessarily match up with their sounds. So that's where you're going to have to focus your energy. But what I want you to notice is that all of our words this week end with ITY. Whenever you find a word that ends with ITY, it's going to be a noun. Okay? Now, in many of these words, that ITY is a derivational suffix. It was added to the end of an adjective to turn it into a noun. So, for instance, curious became curiosity, and electric became electricity. So let's start by reading our list. As we do, I want you to listen for that itty ending. I want you to try to figure out if there is an adjective hiding in there. And if so, I want you to notice how the pronunciation of that adjective changes when the word is lengthened. Okay? So lots to think about. But here we go. Authority, capacity, curiosity, electricity, equality, facility, fidelity, hospitality, hostility, humidity, intensity, nationality, necessity, opportunity, personality, possibility, priority, responsibility, security, university. Okay, so everything on our list is a noun. But let's go through and try to figure out which adjectives are hiding in some of our words. So let's start here. If a person is curious, they show curiosity. Now, here's a curious thing. The word curious is C-U-R-I-O-U-S. For some strange reason, when we change curious to curiosity, we get rid of that U. I've never seen that with any other word, so it's just something you're going to have to memorize. So curious becomes curiosity. Electric becomes electricity. Now something strange happens here too. The word electric ends with a hard C, the k sound. But when we add our ending, notice our ending starts with I, that softens the C. So now it says electricity. You see that a lot. Hard G's become soft G's. Hard C's become soft C's, depending on the letter that follows. All right, if people are equal, they enjoy equality, okay? Nothing tricky about the spelling changes here, but notice the pronunciation. Equal, qual, becomes equality. Qual becomes qual. If somebody is hostile, they're not very nice to you, they're mean to you, okay? They show you hostility. Notice I had to drop my silent E because I'm adding a suffix that starts with a vowel. You've been doing this since first grade when you first started learning about ED and ING endings. So nothing tricky there. Hostile becomes hostility, okay? Humidity, what's the adjective hiding in there? Yeah, humid, right? When the air is humid, there's lots of moisture. It feels very sticky and muggy. So when it is humid, we have to deal with humidity. If something's intense, it causes very strong feelings, right? So if it's intense, we deal with its intensity. The intensity of something, the intensity of the sun beating down, the intensity of the meeting when everyone was getting fired. Okay, again, silent E, drop it before you add your vowel suffix. If something is national, you belong to a national group, that is your nationality. Right? Your nationality, I'm French, I'm Chinese, I'm Australian. That is the nation that I come from, okay? That is my nationality. Notice how the pronunciation changes. We go from nation to national to nationality. Lots of changes there. Okay, here's a word you might not know. Opportune. That's a describing word, right? Like my friend asked if I wanted to go for a walk today, but it wasn't an opportune time for me because I had lots of work to do. So if something's opportune, it's well-timed, right? Before you get in the car, you know, let's say mom is taking you to school, this would be an opportune time to tell her, oh yeah, school was canceled. I mean, if it really was canceled, right? You don't want to wait until she gets to school to tell her the news. You have to pick the opportune time, right? The opportunity. Again, drop that silent E. If we talk about a person, right? And we are sharing, or we're thinking about personal information, that we're talking about their personality, right? I mean, that's kind of a stretch, but you just like we went from nation to national to nationality, we can go from person to personal to personality, right? Your personality describes who you are as a person. If something is possible, there is a possibility. Now, do you notice something strange happening here? Do you see this I? Where did that come from? Possible, B-I-L, right? We changed B-L-E to B-I-L, and then we added itty. We're going to see that again down here. If somebody is responsible, they show responsibility. Look at B-L-E became B-I-L. And then we added itty. Kind of weird, right? If somebody is secure, or a building is secure, or a password is secure, it has security. Again, drop that bossy E. Okay, so over here, everything that I outlined or drew a blue box around, those are adjectives that turn to nouns. Now, everything else on my list that I didn't talk about yet, those are all nouns. But as we go through them, I want to distinguish between the two types of nouns. We have concrete nouns. Those are the ones you first learned about in first grade, second grade. People, places, and things. Apple, dog, chair. If I can see it, if I can touch it, if I can draw it, that's a concrete noun. Okay? Those are easier to understand. But then we have abstract nouns. Those are harder to understand because they're not things, they're feelings or concepts. So let's go through and let's find our concrete nouns first, okay? So for instance, facility. A facility is a place. It's a building. If you or someone you know has food allergies, you've probably gotten really good at reading labels. And you'll notice on the label, sometimes they'll say, this product was made in a facility that uses nuts. Or this product was made in a facility that produces dairy products. They're letting you know that in that building, your food item might have touched stuff that touched peanuts or dairy. Okay, so a facility is a place or a building. We can touch it, we can draw it. It is a concrete noun. A university. That's another word for a big college. Right? When you graduate from high school, you might choose to enroll in a university. That's a concrete noun. You can draw a picture of it, you can touch it, you can go there. So anything I underlined in orange is a concrete noun, okay? And they did not originate from an adjective. They originated from probably a Latin root. So facility, university, you can explore those on your own. All right, but now let's talk about those abstract nouns, starting with authority. If somebody has authority, they have control. They get to be the boss, okay? Every school has somebody in authority, the principal, the superintendent. It's the person in charge, okay? So if you have authority, you have control. Capacity means if you have the capacity, you have the ability, could be the ability to hold something like this bowl has the capacity to hold 2 gallons of food, right? But we also talk about a person having the capacity, the ability to hold certain emotions, right? Like, you know, you think about like the Grinch in the famous Grinch movie, right? He didn't have the capacity, the ability to love other people until he, you know, later in the story when he learned an important lesson. So when you have the capacity, you have the ability to do something, or if we're talking about containers, the capacity to hold something. But that is an abstract noun because you can't draw a picture of it. Fidelity means faithfulness, okay? So if you are going to run the Hartford Marathon, you have to train with fidelity. You have to faithfully put on your running shoes and practice several times a week. You can't just run one day and then be ready to run a marathon. So if you do something with fidelity, you're doing it with faithfulness. You're putting in your best consistent effort. Hospitality. Now notice there's a word hospital hiding in there. Hospitality has nothing to do with hospitals, right? Hospitality just means being a good host. So if you invite friends over to your house, you're going to show them hospitality by offering them a cold drink, asking them if they'd like to sit down, asking them if they'd like something to eat, right? By being a good host, you are showing them hospitality. Necessity is a fancy word for need, right? Sometimes we do things out of necessity, right? I didn't really want to spend $500 on new tires, but I had to buy them out of necessity because my old ones were about to break or rip apart, right? So necessity is need. Priority. If something is a high priority, That has to do with its level of importance. When you prioritize stuff, like let's say you're making a to-do list, you know you can't get everything done, so you prioritize. The things that are most important, the highest priority, you put on top. I have to pick up my prescription today. I have to get milk. The dry cleaning can wait till tomorrow, right? So you prioritize by making your list of priorities. Okay, I think that's it. So anything underlined in orange was a concrete noun. Anything in green was an abstract noun. I want to go back very quickly to number 7 because when you get to page 134, you have a whole activity based on the Latin root fid. F-I-D is a Latin root, and it means, so fid equals faith, belief, or trust. Okay, so talked about wedding rings, right? These are a symbol of fidelity, right? When you get married, you promise to be faithful to your spouse so they know they can trust you, right? A confidant is a person you confide in, right? Your best friend is your confidant. You can confide in them because you trust them to keep your feelings or your secrets safe. If somebody is confident, they have faith in themselves. They say, I can do this. I trust myself, right? So there are lots of other words that also contain that chunk. So I want you to read them in the word bank and then match them with their definitions on the bottom. Use what you know about parts of speech, prefixes, suffixes to match them up. All right, that's all I have for you today. Good luck, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.